Africans are not hardworking or not intelligent.
Most of them are probably refugees. Most of them are probably begging, and most of them are not illiterate.
There are some people that never really knew that Africans lived in houses.
Africa is a jungle. They feel is a forest. People still walk around with leaves.
Africans are always looking hungry, malnourished, mostly kwashoko, sick and stuff like that.
Like Africa is like a single country and not a whole continent, you know?
I met a man, I think he should be in his 60 years or something. And he asked me this question that he heard that in Africa we are hungry. Most of us are hungry in Africa.
대학교 때 그 교수님이 한 분 저한테 물어봤는데 그 곤약 있었을 때 그 하루 동안 몇 번 먹어요? 이렇게 저한테 물어봤어요. 아마 곤약이 있었을 때 밥이 잘 안 먹고 이런 거 많이 생각하고 있는 것 같아요.
How on the earth? This is the only thing that can make people, that can make beautiful nations like those ones to be known in the world.
Do you people now have like water? Do you have like internet?
Sometimes I feel like this is an insult to Africa. Because Africa is not this.
빈곤 포르노. 빈곤의 이미지를 말초적으로 단순화하여 자극적으로 재현하는 미디어 콘텐츠를 이렇게 부릅니다. 굶주림으로 뼈가 앙상한 아이들, 빈 그릇과 말라붙은 우물, 무기력과 절망으로 외부의 도움을 기다리는 사람들, TV를 켜면 어렵지 않게 볼 수 있는 이미지들입니다. 이런 이미지로 이루어진 모금 광고는 오랫동안 논란이 되어 왔습니다. 비판의 목소리도 변화를 위한 노력도 있었지만 빈곤 포르노적인 모금 광고는 아직도 곳곳에서 발견됩니다. 2024년 우리는 이 광고들이 어떻게 만들어지는지 알아보고자 했습니다. 2022년부터 2023년 사이 개발도상국의 어려운 사람들을 돕기 위한 활동을 하는 단체들이 방영한 TV 모금 광고들을 분석하고 제작 관계자들을 인터뷰했습니다. 우리가 분석한 광고의 대부분은 가난한 사람들을 비극에 압도된 희생자로만 그렸습니다. 변화의 주체는 NGO와 후원자였고 당사자들은 수동적인 수혜자일 뿐이었습니다. 한국의 많은 단체들이 아시아와 남미, 아프리카 등 세계 여러 지역에서 지원 사업을 하고 있지만 TV 모금 광고에 등장하는 배경은 유독 아프리카로 집중되었습니다. 모금 광고에서 아프리카는 실제 사업 비중보다 과대대표되었고 구체적인 나라 이름 대신 그저 아프리카로만 지칭되곤 했습니다. 연구를 하며 우리가 마주한 것은 하나의 공백이었습니다. 빈곤 포르노성 모금 광고들은 외부인의 시선으로 빈곤한 커뮤니티의 모습을 납작하게 보여주고 있는데 그런 방식을 비판하는 시선도 결국 외부인의 것이었습니다. 한 사람의 이미지와 이야기가 세상에 알려지고 재생산되는 것, 그것을 통제할 수 있는 권리가 이미지와 이야기의 주인에게 있다면 마땅히 그 주인의 목소리를 들어야 했습니다. 우리는 그동안 한국 사회가 들으려 하지 않았던 목소리들을 찾아 나섰습니다. 각자 다른 시기에 각자 다른 나라에서 각자 다른 이유로 한국에 와서 살아가는 아프리카 사람 22명을 만나 묻고 들었습니다. 이것은 그 기록입니다.
맞아요. 네, 매너 광고. 네, 유튜브 그리고 틱톡도 유튜브랑 인스타그램도 많이 봤어요. 조금 마음이 아픈 정도 느꼈고 그리고 조금 가끔 짜증이 나는 데도 많이 있었어요. 아프리카에서 이런 상황이만 아니라 근데 대부분이 아프리카에 대해 상황만 많이 보고 있는 것 같아요. 다른 나라에서도 이런 힘든 거 이런 그 어려운 상황도 많이 있지 않을까 생각해. 근데 아프리카의 상황 많이 대부분이 그것만 그 메디아 그것만 올리고 있다고 생각하니까.
Et cette première fois, c'était tellement choquant que je l'ai encore là, j'ai pas pu oublier, j'ai encore l'image là. Et c'était un enfant, un bébé qui était très mince, c'était vraiment très mince, qui était très affamé et qui avait des mouches ici, des mouches et tout ça, et qui n'avait vraiment pas de quoi manger et qui était dans la main de son.
Almost every advertisement that I saw, it's like as if they are scripted the same. It shows a kid crying and in the middle of a desert. Background is like deserty background and people are wearing their traditional clothes and standing there. And then it says people in Africa are struggling. There was not really information about which region they are talking about. It's just Africa as a whole.
So they portray these children living in a thatched house, you know, of course with so many other families around, and then they are squashing and fighting for just a pot of porridge, you know. And you know the thing is they do not quite point out the area. They said Uganda, you know, Uganda. Okay. So it's like Uganda. If you portray that is Uganda, then you're leaving out the rest of Uganda because that's just a portion.
I remember the first time I saw it, I really felt like, wow. So if everybody is seeing this on the TV, that's how they see me from Burundi. It was on TV in my neighborhood. I was just passing and I think it was a restaurant or somewhere, a hair salon. So I was just passing and then I watching the through the door and then I saw a TV there and then I saw that horrible advertisement. So I was like, okay, for money, they're just destroying a whole generation. For money, they're just destroying a whole community. Well, online, I feel like they target who you are. So you are like, maybe I'm the only one seeing this, or maybe some few other people. But if you see that on TV, in Busan, you can imagine every child or parents who are in front of their TVs watching that. How will they see an African in Busan?
I went to a cafeteria to have a dinner. It was the school's campus. And then, you know, hundreds of people come around to have a food. And there's a public TV over there. And, you know, I picked my food and then right when I was about to eat, you know, there was a scene like that seeking donation for one of the African countries. And, you know, the situation was such that, I mean, if you are even trying to, you know, you look at the situation, how miserable the people look, I mean, I don't know how to describe. I mean, that impression still lives on my mind in the sense that, oh my God, I started looking around. I'm African. So people think that this is how I grew up. This is where I'm coming from. So, oh, look at them, they're suffering from disease and all that. They have wounds everywhere. They look at flies even entering their mouth and all that. They're not, and this is a cafeteria for me. So, do you think anyone would even want to be friends with me if this is how I grew up?
Even like other medias, like in movies, you find like scenes where like, oh, we're going to Africa. Like they don't say any country, and then they say like them helping out in Africa with kids who are like crying, who are like sick, that kind of thing. It's not entirely like the NGO's fault, even though it does play a big part. But even like the media, the way it's portrayed in itself, I feel like it kind of like feeds into those stereotypes. It's called Shooting Stars Portombyar. Many people were watching it, but many Africans, like when they saw that scene, they were like, oh, he's going to do like the volunteer work in Africa, and then they portrayed it that way. Many people stopped watching it because of like that scene specifically.
last year in November, I have met one group. I was waiting for the bus and they came to me and showed me the paper that they need to fundraising for African.
They are at a sun market where they give us a sticker to put on the face we want for fundraising. They say they are doing a fundraising of helping people in their image of the kids who are hungry, the disasters, and the sad picture.
They presented a picture to me, and then I was like, are you sure this is what you are taking the money to support? So it was this image of a young boy who is like malnourished and look very frail and pale, and with the mother and all of so those things. And I felt like it was very unrepresentative of what they are trying to do.
The images were sort of typical, yeah, just a bit with like a kid who is a bit emaciated and the face is looking very dull, and they are maybe probably holding a bowl of food and it is empty. And I think the pictures were a bit sensational, but I mean, so you just okay. I mean, it's the photo, so they were just a bit sensational and a bit. It's not like it's not like if you look at the photo, you get a feel-good feeling.
Now, generally, with all the advertisements that come with donations, it's like a mixed feeling. There are two sides to a blade, right? So one is that I'm touched. I feel, wow, people around the world have seen this need and they want to help us. But on the other hand, they always have this picture of like kids who are dirty, they don't have a clean face, they have tattered clothes. It's like they found a region of 0.01 in our whole region, and they chose, let's pick that. They really will represent the face of poverty that we really need. It's quite humiliating because at the end of the day, we are human beings and we should be treated with some dignity and respect. You want to treat them with a sense of dignity. You want them to keep their pride, which is actually the thing that is missing in these advertisements.
In Korea, what I see in your TV is even when they catch a bad person, they will blur his face.
Right.
They will mask. You will not see. You see, they don't show that. But you know that he's a bad guy, right? Still no. Why would they show Africa?
Because even if someone is knocked with a car on the road, to highlight the story, you cannot photograph a dead person on the road and say, you know what, you're trying to show that road accident has happened in Kungdong. You can just say, you know what, an accident has occurred. Because also in Korea, I've seen it like even if you photograph someone, you're supposed to blur the face, right? Even if it's a CCTV, it doesn't capture the exact. So actually, they do appreciate. They know what they are supposed to do.
It's not just about Africa, right? Yeah, it is about respecting humanity. I mean, when you come to Africa, we have the eastern part, the southern part, that kind of thing. But when we cut ourselves, it's the same blood. Nobody's blood is green. All of us, we have a red blood. All right. So if we do this to someone who is a white skin and it's not good, it shouldn't be done to someone who has a black skin.
TV만 틀면 흔하게 볼 수 있는 모금 광고들. 익숙하다 못해 친숙하기까지 한 이미지들입니다. 하지만 친숙한 이미지와는 대조적으로 마음으로 보는 거리는 멀기만 합니다. 광고에 나오는 주인공들이 나의 동네에서, 학교에서 또는 일터에서 만날 수 있는 사람이라고는 잘 상상하지 않기 때문입니다. 우리와 같은 땅에서 우리의 이웃으로 살고 있는 이들은 혹시 외국 단체의 카메라를 고향에서 직접 마주한 적이 있을까? 조심스럽게 질문을 던졌습니다.
growing up as a kid, I remember when I was in primary, I was in a private school. I think they were coming from the US. Well, I don't remember the entire song we were singing, but the song was, "We are the orphans, we are the orphans, we are the orphans of Uganda. Our parents died some time back. We need help," something like that. So it keeps ringing in my mind now that I've grown up, and I think about it, and I'm like, okay, so these guys were coming to visit, and these are the songs we were singing. Yeah, they would come, bring books, bring pens, pencils. Yeah, some would come and buy shoes for students, and they take videos because they will tell you, we want accountability.
We were studying, and these people came in our school, and they say, we want to take a picture of you, and we just give you guys education about certain things about AIDS. And then after giving us the education, they took picture of people, like just for memories. They say it's just for memories. Because in my country, most of people who are still in secondary or in primary, they don't use phone that much. The parents want you to study. So they thought we will not have access to any kind of, what can I say, the social media news or maybe the news from the website. They took the photo and they posted it in their places for fundraising. And they said, these are the kids who are suffering in Tanzania with AIDS and they are very hungry. They need help. Yes, I remember that because I remember one of our friends, her father was someone in the government official. And boom, he saw this and he said, what are you doing in this picture? And that is where we knew. And since we were like kids, we cried, like, why did they think of us like this? Why they do this? And since then, people say, we don't trust this kind of people anymore.
Some, different person entered the class, and then he wanted to take a picture with the students, of course, to make his maybe documentary or anything to collect the funds. All the students, they went under the bench to hide their faces.
So that they won't be.
They didn't want to be taken a picture. So, yes, some of the people they don't like because they know they are taking us a picture with no shoes, looking anyhow like people that hungry people, and then they make money. We are not benefiting anything. So.
Slavery in America, it ended 200 years ago. It was something very common, very normal, slavery. I believe those kind of advertisements, in less than 3 decades, they will be considered as crime against humanity. Because they destroy ambitions, they destroy communities, they destroy dreams.
My daughter is in elementary school. Even my son in middle school experiences the same thing. When they talk about people from regions where they have to go fetch water, walk distances to fetch water, their classmates would always turn to look at them. One of my son's classmates even asked him, so how do you survive in Nigeria without water? That it can actually damage that boy's reputation, like his mind. It could make him feel so inferior,
Yes.
And that could also result in some other issues as he grows up.
So imagine you have shared a picture of a child on the internet, and thanks to the support and way they make it in life, but that picture will forever be on the internet, right? So there's nothing you can do to make sure it's off the internet, and it's always going to be a burden they have to carry their whole life, that they have been exposed. Well, think about it. If you have a child, you don't want their picture without clothes or anything like put online, right?
How the way that they're portrayed, it doesn't create an issue right away, but like it has like a long lasting like impression. Like the stereotype, Africa has always been, even in like American movies, like it has always been portrayed like that. The moms are telling the kids if they don't eat. Do you know that there are like kids who are like starving in Africa? Like it has always been like a known thing.
So essentially the problem is, as I understand, there is a limited amount of time you have on a TV to communicate your message. And then it's up to you what you share in that message. So, and as you mentioned, they choose like the most visually striking thing, and because that's what will get a lot of people passionate, I think. But I think that can also challenge that a little bit. If the problem presented to you is because 10 children are hungry today, what you are going to do is to feed 10 children today. But the question is, when a society is like that, and you show, for example, the support that people are hungry, so what kind of support are you gonna raise? If we present the problem by just showing symptoms, then the donors are going to feel accomplished and feel like they have solved the problem, only to see the same problem happen again and again next year. And then they'll start thinking, those people, even though we help them, they have no interest in improving their life, so it's all useless. So I'm worried that over time this can happen.
If they use that same picture, take money for, to support relief items, and then the following year they use the same picture to take money from people who just give, again, relief items. And there is no sign or there's no report of what progress have been made in these communities. Then for me, it doesn't look like an immediate solution.
Let's get the little that they can give and use it honestly to help the people in their dignity, rather than having too much that is out of exploitation. Because in a sense, you are not only exploiting the person on ground who you're taking a video from, but also your donor.
Not everyone would be comfortable with graphic pictures. And for people who are victims of different things like war, it might trigger a lot of emotions. But it's also very personal. It depends on each person.
When you feed them that type of image, yes, for the first time it will be effective, but for the second time they will be desensitized to the problem. So it's like downplaying the actual problem that actually is. So here we lose the main concept of empathy and then just putting out concepts, putting out contents that would give us more shock factors.
It's also depriving the Korean population of that. They don't get to see what is in Africa. They don't get to see that there's no. It's impossible that Africa is all bad. It's impossible.
It is often said that while the rich cannot see beyond their privilege, the poor cannot see beyond their pain.
The local person in my community, the rural community, for them what they are minding is the little they can. Is what they are getting from this person. Because guess, a person who does not have money to buy themselves food, would they mind you using their pictures for any reasons? For them, they are after you being able to support them. Whatever you're going to use it, they don't care.
I told you I was a refugee. I know how the charity helped me for me to be the person I am today. I'm a beneficiary for so many years of the charity things. No matter the mistakes you are taking, no matter where my picture can be now, at least I know that they made something that the government could not do when the government could do it. Also, the people benefiting, they're not in a position to complain because at least they are being reached by the charity organizations. the people at least who understand that these rights of those people are being violated, we are complaining, yes. Yes. It's wrong because they know it's wrong and they're doing it. But still, I said they will not stop until there is surveying.
By misrepresentation, and it's like shadowing their voice. And for the diaspora, they have a more direct way of sharing their voice, but for the locals, it would be more suffocating. So it would shadow their voice and would make them distant.
The best support a country can get is having a lot of tourists and investment coming to the country, right? And nobody wants to travel to a place if they think it's not safe, right? So nobody wants to invest if they think the place is not safe. And that's the problem. Although we may raise some funds to feed someone, but by doing so, if we communicate that this place is here, it's inhabitable, it's total chaos, then we will lose a lot of interest in people who would want to visit and explore and probably start businesses and actually employ people.
Of course, some people back home, they even want those images to come because it's true for them. There are people really suffering. And this, as I said, is a political matter. It's not that we lack food or whatever. It's just bad governance, you see. That's why I was saying it's not completely untrue, but that's not how we should show it. Even when it's right, it comes out very wrong. We prefer to tell you that the situation is not good, not that you have that shocking image.
Africa is not like these developed countries or Western countries where everything has to pass through standard channels or standard way of communicating. In Africa, it's month to the years in most of the time because you are coming from the big city. You are coming from where there is light, internet, and everything. So your fears are transmitted to others. Your beliefs are transmitted to others. So in those remote areas, they are always asking, seeing somebody who comes very fresh, coming from the cities. So you can imagine somebody coming from the city telling you that the Mzungu is the savior. They will have that thing of thinking that somebody is going to save them and he has to be from abroad, which is very negative. And it affects the whole generation.
한국 사회에서는 도움을 주기 위한 광고라면 아무래도 괜찮은 것 아니냐라고 말하는 사람들도 있습니다. 이런 시선이 자극적인 모금 광고가 오랫동안 반복되게 만든 배경 중 하나일지도 모릅니다. 하지만 국내에서 만난 인터뷰 참여자들 중에는 그 이미지가 한국에 사는 이주민뿐 아니라 현지에서 살아가는 사람들에게도 부정적인 영향을 줄 수 있다고 말한 이들도 있었습니다. 그래서 우리는 국내가 아닌 아프리카 현지에서 8명의 사람들을 만나보았습니다.
I did my master's in South Korea. I lived in Korea for 3 years. I spent 1 year in Incheon and then 2 years in Gwangju. I have seen different adverts about fundraising, collecting donations for different African countries and different African areas. I accept that fundraising sometimes is needed because some communities need support, some communities need help. But even when doing so, we should try to use images and mention that this is not the whole continent you're presenting, it's a particular community you're presenting. For at least to not corrupt everybody's mind that the whole continent is about that particular image displayed.
I have seen fundraising Korean ads, and they were just showing like the poverty in Africa, and those ads can make Africans feel a little ashamed and very misunderstood and misrepresented.
And when you feel like misunderstood and misrepresented, like your self-esteem can be touched too. You know?
Advertisements aggravate hardship. That is the basic. They show more hardship, but in reality, people are happy. I am from a family of 9 siblings. We're living in 2 rooms. Imagine 9 people living in 2 rooms. We never complained, but they are not showing that part. Yes, the aim were achieved. Why? Because they want to raise funds. But I normally feel uncomfortable because they are not telling the full story. I understand fundraising, they need to send those videos out to get more money. Yeah, I really do. But my problem or my stand is, don't reduce people to suffering.
To be sincere, there is poverty in Uganda.
So how are they different?
But what is advertised in media in overseas countries, sometimes it's different. They exaggerate. They tend to exaggerate. Yes, there is hunger. There is a water problem. But we can't say we are completely on zero. We have something whereby we need more, but people who advertise this tend to damage the image of our country. To an extent, they say completely Africans are poor.
I have been working with the Koreans for over 9 years. So I was even lucky to visit Korea temporarily. Indeed, to some part, they are showing different countries as miserable. And people would have that image that is like a very poor country with no potentials, with no resources, who are always longing for support or help in one part. On the other side, you can see some storytelling, especially some organizations use like a storytelling aspect, whereby they let people describe the previous situation they were living in, and then after the support, what was improved, and they can also talk about the gap that is still remain, and more intervention that could be needed. To that part, it shows like people are striving. They know their problems, and they need more support to move from one status to another. So I may say also there is one trend on that side, and I feel like most of Korean NGOs, they are on that part.
Those were some difficult to watch videos. I understand the need to show reality. If it's a reality in the country you are working in, it is a reality. You can't hide it. To an international ear that doesn't have that doesn't know those situations, that they need to have a visual aspect of it that helps them understand what is going on in those countries. I understand that. But then again, on the other side, it kind of paints an image that many people in the Western countries or Asia or anywhere else have of Africa. That it's just forests and dry lands and deserts. That there is no water, that there's no nothing in it, that there's no Wi-Fi, no nothing, no electricity, no, just one backward continent with dark backward continent. A person who has never been to Africa will look at it and generate a picture in his own mind, his or her own mind, that this is Africa, which in some ways reduces the ability of those people or reduces the willingness of those people to even visit Africa and see it for themselves.
Yeah, I feel so bad because that is not what it is.
So it's so sad showing that in generalizing all African as such has that problem, maybe hunger, drought, and so they have to show the specific area that has that problem. But no African country or African continent that they have maybe hunger, they have that. I have never seen in my life. I am 50 years, but I have not seen hunger such in Zanzibar or in Tanzania. I have never seen drought such in there. So when you just give advertisement and say this is Africa, it's unfair for us. African is not poor continent. Africa is rich, but we have problem in using the resources we have. Only that.
Currently, I'm in the education sector. I'm teaching younger ones. They made a documentary about myself, about my school, and about my village. Yeah, and for me, I was happy about it because what was shown was exactly the picture of my village and my school.
Have I been featured by external media? Yes. So more often than not, in this part of the world, the global South, Africa, Nigeria as a whole, most of the time our stories are told from the lens of always needing aid or not being economically independent, right? But in reality, Nigeria is a country full of resources. Nigeria is a country full of talent. However, most of the time, the way our stories are not told from that light of strengths, right? It's always told from the lens of weaknesses. And I think that's something I'd always work and want to speak against that.
Because if you tell people that they are surviving or they are depending on help, they remain depending. It's like you are living because I gave you this. And therefore, people end up thinking like, I will always need this help to survive or to live.
We have a problem in Africa. Whoever seeing a Mzungu wants to put all the problems or the burden or whatever is hidden, wants to disclose it. Mzungu is a person of any white color. So we Africans, when they see any person of white color, they expect money, they expect donation, they think that they have come with money.
So such ads, I think they really made people to give out of pity, and it has created savior mindset that we are better than Nigeria, so we should give to them. No, that is, to me, that is the impact of those ads. They make donors in Korea or anywhere to give out of pity, not out of respect. Yeah, that is the impact of the stereotype. If we are in the midst of, let me say, international people, if you are not careful, those things can creep in. You might feel a little bit lower than them. Yeah, because negative ads over time has lowered people's self-esteem, has make people feel misrepresented.
I think the dignity to right of person, the right to be publicized, or the right to have your personality or your picture or your experiences told online. Research has shown that it ties strongly with mental health. My picture or my story or my experience is being told in a way in which I do not like can affect my mental well-being. It can lead to low self-esteem. And all of that in some way ties back to how much I even begin to crave food. And so I think that right to dignity is as important as basic necessities to life, like eating, like being safe, and access to clean water, education. I think it's just as important as any of those.
국내 그리고 현지에서 인터뷰를 진행하며 가장 많이 들을 수 있었던 단어는 존엄이었습니다. 의도하지는 않았지만 모금 광고가 사람을 재현하는 방식의 문제에 대해 고민하면서 우리가 곱씹었던 키워드와 일치했습니다. 존엄. 국어사전은 존엄을 감히 범할 수 없을 정도로 높고 엄숙함이라고 설명합니다. 존엄이 지켜지지 않았다는 것은 무언가가 범해졌다는 뜻입니다. 범해지면 안 될 그 무엇, 그 경계에 대한 감각을 누군가는 상처의 관점에서, 누군가는 권리의 관점에서 겹겹의 결로 풀어냈습니다.
It's more to poverty eradication than just feeding. When you rip them, you strip them of their dignity, and then you give them food, their bellies will be full. I mean, if somebody doesn't eat in a day, they can eat once in 2 days, and they can still survive.
Mm-hmm.
But the impact of being stripped of their dignity is a lifelong pain.
Mm-hmm.
It kills faster than hunger, you know.
Okay, let me start by food and water. Those are the basic things that people need to live. If you don't have them, you die. As simple as that. But after that, there is an aspect of self that a person needs to have in order to be able not only to live properly with others, but also to be able to create their own identity, I would say, as a person, and that is dignity.
So if we just perceive the human by their needs, it's not a pure depiction of a human dignity. So as a human, you're not just wanting, you're many things. So when you advertise that, oh no, this person is this, then you would be limiting that person only to think a certain way, to do a certain way. So,
la dignité, c'est l'âme, hein, c'est l'âme d'une personne. S'il n'y a pas de dignité, c'est difficile de faire la différence entre nous avec les animaux. Personnellement, c'est ce que je pense. Et je me dis que la dignité, c'est ce qui fait l'être humain.
I think dignity immense in the cultural and values of people in a country, which could have different perspective country from country. But speaking of African person, I think we are like keeping aside our development. We are very proud of our culture as a people, as Ethiopian people. We're very proud of our history, and we have a strong connection with cultural values. We respect each other, we value each other, we help each other. And as I told you, kindness runs in our blood. So dignity not only includes these basic needs, but also the art of living.
Dignity means being seen and respected as a full human being.
Your culture, your values, your way of thinking.
I have the right and I have the power to decide what's private and what's public.
Being able to be confident through life and to be treated with respect.
Knowing people, their worth.
Humanity, and also, seeing the value in someone else.
Dignity is more about respect for the fact that you're human, regardless of other conditions, and your humanity shouldn't be measured on our circumstances and your struggles.
The ability to identify yourself as a person, not your own circumstances. Even if you're in misery, you know that this is not my end, or in of myself is not the misery. Misery is not what identifies me. I am a person first. I just happen to be in a circumstance of
being poor, for example.
The right for someone to exist. I am Ugandan, and I have a right to sit in the same space with you. Now you taking away my dignity is telling me you cannot have that. Oh, I have seen I've seen children in your country starving. Please, why are you here? Go sort your problems back home. I'm supposed to go to school. I'm supposed to acquire knowledge. I'm supposed to exist. I'm supposed to have life. But if you keep portraying me as a low caste, low caste in the sense of a low class, then you're taking away my dignity.
How do I respect people's choice? How do I respect people's culture? How do I respect people's rights? And how do I portray people, or how do I consider people as human, not as rich, not as poor, not as from this north to south?
Comment je définis la dignité de l'être humain? Je dirais que c'est une valeur absolue, personnelle, et aussi c'est quelque chose qu'on ne peut pas enlever à l'être humain. Donc, avoir une dignité, c'est avoir le respect. Avoir une dignité, c'est avoir de la valeur. Et avoir la dignité, c'est vraiment avoir quelque chose de propre à soi, vraiment de spécial.
존엄을 말하던 대화들은 결국 어떻게 살아가는가의 이야기로 이어졌습니다. 그리고 그 안에는 스스로 선택하고 말할 수 있는 자리, 그 주체성의 문제가 놓여 있었습니다.
That gives the tragic images, I think.
And I don't know whether it's possible to scrape the internet of all those images. If that is possible, then that would be great.
They can maybe not show the whole kid if they help him to overcome to that period of malnutrition, because the malnutrition is periodically. It can't even take 1 year in that situation. Then that kid who are malnourished today, it can be even the minister or president of the country who are on the newspapers.
If you're really trying to show or target people's hearts with the sadness of poverty, at least find pictures that don't dehumanize these people. You want to show an aspect of suffering. Okay, show us the dry land. Show us, I don't know, there's so many other aspects you can show us to show us poverty instead of lowering the dignity of these people.
If they're using actors at the end of the day, that actor is African, the issue is like the message they're trying to portray. If the message is still talking about, Africa's in this negative way, so even whatever they use, if the message is still the same, I feel like it's also still harmful and fitting into those stereotypes.
C'est une bonne proposition. Si on montre ces publicités, on va dire, c'est-à-dire si on montre le résultat final aux personnes, c'est bon parce que ça va permettre à ces personnes au moins de voir comment ces personnes sont représentées dans la publicité ou bien dans le documentaire. Mais le problème, en fait, c'est que
when people are in desperate situation, they cannot choose. Because when you don't have food or clothes or not sure if you are gonna survive, then that is the only thing you think about in that moment. If you are in a war zone and you are trying to survive or to help your child survive, you don't have the luxury of agreeing or disagreeing to some terms and conditions.
Chez nous, on a un proverbe qui dit lorsque la maison brûle, on ne regarde pas la qualité de l'eau qu'on va prendre pour éteindre le feu. Ça peut être de l'eau propre ou bien ça peut être de l'eau sale. On veut juste de l'eau pour éteindre le feu. Donc, lorsque les gens sont dans des difficultés, le côté dignité, ça disparaît souvent. Ces personnes-là mais ça devient plus un point important, on va dire. Il y a des personnes pour qui ça reste important, mais dans la majorité des cas, lorsqu'on en fait, il y a vraiment plus de dignité. Donc même si on leur montre le résultat final, du moment que ça permet d'avoir de la nourriture, généralement, moi je pense, même si j'étais dans le cas, j'allais accepter qu'on diffuse l'image.
But the person who is trying to help have a choice to make. They can choose how to present this person.
C'est aux ONG, à ces personnes-là, les ONG, de se projeter parce qu'ils savent, ce sont des personnes qui sont éduquées, qui ont fait des études, donc qui savent en fait l'influence que ça peut avoir sur d'autres communautés à l'international.
You can present them in a respectful manner and still communicate that they need help. And that choice can only be done by the person who posts or the person who is in the position to help.
But it takes more than just the organization to fix this. It has to be a collective effort, and everybody has to be on board, you know. But those that provide the funds to the NGOs, the NGO leadership itself, because the employee, those at the bottom of the strata, they really don't have any impact. They don't have much impact on this.
Hard doesn't mean impossible, right? Just because it's hard, it doesn't mean we should not try it even. And also, it takes a process. It's not a one-time shot.
Some people can get motivated to donate when, they see countries trying to progress and, change their realities into something even more better. So I don't think, poverty or pity is always the way to get people to donate.
A picture that shows growth, I think, speaks louder than a picture that shows stagnation.
People will believe in results.
Right.
You can start by showing the results. But if you show the fundraising, you just give the empathy and be like, oh, they are really helpless. They are really helpless. But that's not true, because there are some things we did by ourselves. Instead of starting with showing those explicit images, why not showing the good ones and say, oh, out of what we did, out of what fund we raised before, this is what we did with them. Now people have these good services, but still we need to help others too. Like that would be the end.
I think people usually feel bad when they see poor or struggling people, so they are in to help. This is one perspective of fundraisers. I don't think it's making excuse. They are putting their effort, to gain the attention of the people and to gain the maximum help they could get and deliver that and achieve their target. But in my perspective, there is also other alternatives. We are also designed to help hopeful people, to help potential, so that through that potential they can see better future. And also there are changes everywhere. Like, I want to show the strengths. I want the advertisers show the growth in Africa that's been on progress. So sharing the reality of Africa not only helps the perception of other foreign countries, but also the people residing in Africa. They would strive for better. Their confidence will be boosted. And opportunities will be open.
Even in the bad times, there are points of strength. You can paint out a picture of any good development that has to happens at a point where someone is strong. This organization should also be capturing a part where they bring out the points of strength of these communities, because I believe every community regardless of how small and vulnerable it is, there is something within them that they have given their effort.
So show the struggle and the strengths.
Show us these people's resilience, how they deal with these challenges every day. Because in northern Kenya, there is a camp called Kakuma. So it's a large refugee camp which holds so many refugees. So I was watching a documentary once and they were showing that they had started farming watermelons and other types of crops. So why are you not showing us this aspect of resilience, right? Give us some hope that, okay, they are suffering, but at the end of the day, they are also trying to survive.
I run an NGO, a non-profit organization that works to promote sustainable development in rural communities. And so even when I tell the stories of the communities that I work with, the kind of pictures that I post, the kind of documentaries that I make, it doesn't victimize the people that I'm trying to help. And I think that's what I would say fundraising campaigners and multilateral organizations should always have at the back of their mind, that currently lived realities and the ways in which they are communicated are completely two different things, in as much as they are intersected.
Present the fact. Yeah, nothing but fact. If you're presenting a problem, state the facts of the problem, and not just stating the problem because you want it to tickle the emotions of people so that they can give it.
Actually, my friend runs an NGO that helps kids. So it started as a very small school, and now it caters to until high school. They have an Instagram and a website. The pictures that are put up on these social media pages are depicting exactly how the kids look in the moment. They are clean, they are well taken care of, they eat. They show the children in their true environment, how they laugh, how they play. The real picture is what is shown on their websites.
I think it ties back to the way in which our stories are told, and the way in which our stories are communicated. I think it needs to be more of we telling our own stories and not our stories being told for us. And I think that's where the communication gap is, because when our stories are told for us, there tends to be has to be the tendency that our stories, our lived realities are misunderstood or misconstrued. So
we need to show the voices of Africans themselves. Yeah, not only outsiders. Let Africans, let them be the one to tell their stories.
Our stories can only be told by us.
Miso?
Yeah. I think it will capture many people smiling. In most cases, I like to see people smiling. Rwanda is, at least my community is a very happy community. I think it will be many people smiling of all age, old, young, children, all people interacting, playing, smiling.
So there's a picture of me wearing a traditional attire. I had a presentation that day. It was Asia Africa Summit. I felt like it represented my culture, the culture of the colors of my region. And every time I wore that in Korea, anybody that sees me would smile, because it kind of warms the heart. And that's who I am. I like to see people smile. I was bullied as a child, so I lost these two by 2 teeth, and it took more than 5 years for it to grow because it fell off when I was much younger. But guess what? When it came, it was something that was really embarrassing because they just came out 2 large teeth and I couldn't close my mouth. So I just took it upon myself. Okay, since I can't close my mouth, I'll start smiling. And that's how, that's how what was meant to be a thing of shame to me turned out to be something very beautifying. And now people just love my smile. And probably if it had fallen off in time, it wouldn't have come out this big and beautiful.
I have a small organization, grassroots organization that I run. Because we don't have machines, we don't have tractors to plow the land, you need many people. So I collected some people, I hired many people to come to work. So I was like, okay, let me not miss this opportunity. Okay, these people are coming to work, they're going to make money. How can I help them to make this money useful for them? I gathered these people, then I paid them, but I started teaching them about savings. So that day, the day I took the pictures, now there is another big farmer around who has big farms, who had big lands. So he has to come to this organization, to this team, so they can get a big bunch of people at the same time. And then that day they had finished working from that person. They were really tired. So we talked and then I took the picture. So whenever I see them now, I know, wow, this is my place, this is my life.
Je pense que si j'avais l'opportunité de me peindre, sinon de me dessiner moi-même, j'allais dessiner une personne qui a la particularité qui a une petite partie de chaque groupe ethnique dans mon pays. Parce que comme je vous l'ai dit, on a 70 ethnies, autour de 70 ethnies dans mon pays. Et la culture ivoirienne, c'est tout ce mélange des 70 parce que chaque groupe ethnique a sa culture. D'autres, il y a des langues différentes, il y a la nourriture qui est différente. Donc l'histoire aussi est différente. Donc je pense que personnellement, je suis le résultat de cette multiculturalité-là. Donc, si je dois me dessiner, à cette époque, j'allais me dessiner avec chaque partie de mon corps allait représenter une particularité, un trait culturel de chaque groupe ethnique. Donc, c'est un peu comme ça que je me vois.
Describe with some people who is standing to defend their hometown. And when there is one problem, political problem, Burkina Faso people are always standing for the country.
I can like to use a bird called Inuma, you know? That white bird, a pigeon, the white one. It's a symbol. Also, it brings peace and resilience.
Okay, I'm gonna share with you. I'm sharing with you the photo of my 1-year-old birthday. Yeah, in this picture, this is in an innocent child, just enjoying himself, happy to be born. And I really like the picture a lot because it reminds me of my background, that no matter where I am from, I can be whoever I want to be.
2022년에 필리핀 갔어요. 그때는 1년 동안 필리핀에서 다녔어요. 예, 살았어요. 그리고 그 첫 번째 6개월은 그 영어로 발표하는 프로그램 있었어요. 그때 참석했고 거의 다는 한국 학생이랑 그리고 외국인 학생도 많이 있었어요. 근데 저밖에는 아프리카 사람이 저밖에 없었어요. 그때는 영어 대화로 하면서 그때는 제 모습이 좋다고 생각합니다. 그때는 처음에 이렇게 단체 앞에서 이렇게 말하는 거 처음이었어요. 그래도 당당하게 말하고 무섭지 않게 잘 연습 잘하고 나왔으니까 그렇게 그때는 잘했던 그때는 그 모습이 잘 저 나라고 생각할 수 있어요.
I was looking to participate in a competition that spoke to landscape, environmental sustainability. And the first thing that came to my mind was family. So something that's quiet, something that feels like home, something that just seems like peace. There's a little bird there at the top. So that bird is called the northern ibis. So it's getting extinct in Nigeria. And so I painted just that one bird at the top to depict how without family and without loved ones, it's not so great, right? You can't really survive alone.
Imagine a road, very narrow road, and on the right side there is shops and people are shopping, a very small shop. So children are playing around there, shopping there. So here is a small town, here is a small family. So there is our culture preserved. So, and on the left side we could see some kind of modern buildings. So this is change of Ethiopia, my hometown, through time. And the front side, there is a child. And it's directly watching the sunset way behind the mountains along the road. It's a beautiful sunset. And she's trying to imagine her future beyond those mountains. She doesn't know what the future brings, but she is hopeful and with a big smile, striving for the future. There, we don't know what to expect, but still there is hope. So that's what makes us strive for the better.